Hey, it's Mike with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's July 23rd, and this will be our chart lesson for today. And this is probably going to wrap it up for the week. I've been doing chart lessons on Fridays for the most part. It's always possible I may decide to do one, but if the weather's bad or something, and I'm here at the office, but for the most part, you won't see any chart lessons on Fridays. So it just gets to be. I know it doesn't seem like much. You watch a 20 or 30-minute video and you think it's no big deal, but when you're trying to do everything I'm doing, and really that 20 or 30-minute video takes an hour to an hour and a half by the time I record it, then process it, and then upload it, it's a minimum of an hour and a half most days. So it does get to be tedious. And after about 2,000, I don't know how many are out there, but I've been doing this for, I've probably been uploading them for 8 or 10 years, somewhere in that range. So it gets to be tedious doing them 5 days a week, every trading day. So I just did, a few months back, I decided I'm not going to do them on Friday. Especially in the summer, I like to cut out early on Friday if the weather's nice or if I got a golf game coming up or something like that. Just, that's part of the reason I got into trading was to reduce my workload some. But I'm a workaholic, and I love what I do. So it's not like it's work. It's almost I enjoy it. So, but I do need a break occasionally. So that's the reason I'm not doing them on Friday. For those of you that wonder why I don't do one on Friday. So anyway, let's talk about today. It's all downhill today, the entire day. And there goes my phone instantly. Okay, I've turned my phone off, so no more interruptions. But it's been a few minutes, so I can't remember where we left off. I think we were just getting started. But this is a downtrend. Started off with a much smaller two-tiered channel. We had a break and a new low, and then there's a two-legged correction, and prices started again. Hopefully you can see those two legs. There's leg one, and then there's a two-legged correction in the middle, and then there's leg two. We didn't quite get a measured move, but that's because the trend line's right there. And so you didn't even need this bigger channel because at that point the brown channel took over. Once you saw that two-legged correction, prices start down again, look for another tighter channel, and you can see that clearly, that two-tiered brown channel working down through there, right down through there. Trying to get it perfectly centered there on that midline, and that held all the way down till about a little after 1 o'clock, where we got an overshoot, and then we corrected back up, got a break of that trend line, and then continued on into the 2 o'clock hour. So this whole entire day was a downtrend. Yes, there's a little bit of a correction here, but that's just because there's a bigger pattern. And really, at this point, you should have been look at the resistance across there. I bet I had 15 emails of people trying to get long right in here. Half of you were trying to trade traps and stuff. Look, listen to me right now. Forget about traps. If you haven't been at this for a couple of years, forget about traps, because you're just going to cause yourself. What you have to do on a trap has to fool people, and most of you are just getting trapped thinking that you're trading a trap, and so you're just outsmarting yourselves. So if you're sim trading, yeah, it's okay to trade a trap, but when it fails, there's no sense in sending me 15 literally I got 15 or 20 emails today about traps, and every one of them was in the same area right in here. People trying to trade traps, trying to get long. And this is not a range day. Look, prices to trade outside the lows that quickly, that's not a range day. Prices shouldn't have been able to get outside those overnight lows if this is going to be a range day. Sure, we could have traded back up in here and went into a range, but the fact that we traded down, and look at the EMA, how it's straight down and then it's straight down, and then now prices are just swinging back and forth really. They're not consistently above it. So we're just going sideways here. All this is a correction back up to the main trend line. And you should have measured this one. And once you started getting close to that measured move, don't be trying to get long. Notice I didn't mark any longs in there. Just wait and try to get back short with the trend. or at least wait on something confirmed. There's a trend line working up here, but you just never really get a setup on it. As we back out, you'll see that. So again, if you see a trap and you want to trade it, ask yourself, am I the smart one here? Am I really smart enough to outsmart people that have been doing this for 20 years or 10 years? Or basically, I'm just talking about skilled traders that have been doing this and that know what they're doing. Ask yourself, are you really smart enough to see something they don't see? And if the answer isn't yes, then you're probably the one getting fooled and trapped. So just keep that in mind. Remember, for order for you to be right, somebody has to be wrong. And most of you are not skilled enough. Most of you can't really find good second entries yet, and you're looking for traps. So stick to the trend and second entries, and when you get really good at that, you won't have to ask me if a trap. It'll be obvious once you can see this clearly on the chart. So I'm not preaching at you. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to help you, because a lot of you are doing is just slowing your progress and slowing your learning. And I know you want to learn it all as quick as you can, but this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on that. But really, if you take a trap and it fails, try to figure it out, because it wouldn't fail if you read it right. It wouldn't fail. So there's a reason it failed. See if you can figure it out. And obviously, if you can't figure it out, I don't mind you sending me an email. But as soon as it fails, a lot of you just drop me an email and say, and again, I'm not complaining, because I don't want it to come across that way. I'm just saying, I got to answer 15 emails, the same exact thing. It's like, I wonder if half of you aren't sitting in some trading on Facebook or somewhere trading together, and you all take the same trade, and then you all send me the same, because every day that happens. I get 15 emails asking the same exact question at the same exact spot. If that's really what y'all are doing, volunteer one person to send me the trade, and he can come back and explain it all to the rest of you, because it just takes up so much time, and my time's already so thin. It's just odd. I just find it really hard to believe that everybody got trapped right here today. I mean, there was a bunch of it that got trapped, and generally, if there's a good trap spot, several of you will get trapped, but 10 or 15 of you to send me your email within a half hour or so. Sometimes I'm just guessing that maybe y'all are all sitting around in some trading forum or trading room trading together, and you all take the same trades, and when it fails, every one of you send me an email asking me why. So I don't know if that's true. I'm just throwing darts at a board here, but it just seems that that's probably what's going on. So, but we're just going sideways here. Look at that resistance. You don't get long into resistance like that. Not in a downtrend day. Because if you back out and look, there's the brown channel in here too, and that's the first break of it. So we're probably still going to try to retest the low. This has been a big downtrend here. That's a pretty good downtrend. And so we're probably going to try to retest those lows. Plus, if you notice the two-legged correction right there, you got to be thinking, hey, this might be the center of the pattern. We might do a whole nother leg down, just like this one right here. So that would have been your minimum target today. And notice we just dropped on off after that. So this didn't really help you at all. But anyway, just, don't try to rush your learning. Go through the process correctly. Learn your second entries first, then move to, once you can see those clearly, I promise you the failures will be automatic. You'll notice them. You'll say, man, that was a great second entry long there. What happened? This has got to be a trap. And you'll start to see it. And so anyway, I show the second entries because some of you are seasoned enough to be learning them, but 90% of you don't have any reason to be looking at failed second entries. I promise you. When you send me your chart and you're not even in the right ballpark or the right zip code, and I tell you that, it's not to hurt your feelings or to be mean to you. I'm just telling you the truth. Just forget them for now. So, and some of you should listen to me. You really should, because it will speed up the process, because you're just slowing yourself down and confusing yourself. So anyway, let's talk about the trades. You had to be real patient this morning. Right here at 7 o'clock, notice that we're kind of working sideways. And Okay, I'm sorry. I just can't. The interruptions just keep coming now. Somebody's coming through my door. So um, we were about to start with the trades. This was the first trade I saw, and guess what? It's a failed second entry long. After all that time on the soapbox, and I'm going to tell you the first trade's a second entry long. So um, you can clearly see the trend line right there. And that's just a first entry count from here. But if you notice, that's a new swing high. It's higher than that swing high. So first entry, second entry. Look how everything's moved below the EMA. Look at this trend line coming up. You got a break. You try to go higher. You try to go higher on that. There's a failed second entry right there. That's actually a failed second entry too, but it makes a new swing high. Then another, and there's two legs down there. That's two measured legs. And then you get a failed second entry, and you can see that right there, and it fails, and off it goes down the other direction. And you can clearly see that. And there's still some more. Look at all my signal bars. None of them are any good. This is all, of course, you get a break here and two legs down, so now you might get some kind of correction. You're probably at least going to go to the other side of the trend line. And of course, we run over here and we break this trend line. We really never even confirm this trend line. But it's still off the first two swings, and we get the break and we move to a new low, and then we get the two-legged correction. So this trend is still in play. And notice we're running up, and then you get a lower high right here. This is a lower high. It broke higher and turned down. If there's enough room back to the EMA, you can take that trade. Then you get another failed second entry long, and this is also a second entry short. Notice that low, first entry, second entry. I wouldn't take this alone on the second entry because this is not really congestion. The bars are it's kind of like a up-down bars there. But notice there's not a bar really with no body or whatever. So it's a little bit congestive, but it's not true congestive. That's what true congestion looks like right there. And with that second entry and a failure to the upside, I like going short there. And then you get the better trade's probably to wait on that lower high and look at it go then. And you can tell the smart traders probably waited on that lower high. And off it goes. And you don't want to be entering way down here this far away from the EMA on first entries, because eventually it does just what it did right here and it bounces. And you don't want to be trying to pick a bottom down here. There's a high or low here and you're way away from the EMA, but look, we're just kind of going sideways. Don't try to take that trade. And of course you're working up and there's just no real shorts here. You finally get till you get a lower high. That's the first safe trade, and this just goes short right there. And you should get it, look for at least a measured move. And there it is, basically a perfect measured move. You can see that right there. And then it bounces again. And this is where it gets confusing, and people don't know what's going on because they're not drawing their trend lines. If you drew this brown trend line off that and drug it up, you'd find this. And that's actually we broke this brown trend line here, and then we made another two-legged correction, but it's just the second leg in the bigger pattern. And you have to remember that this thing moves in the market's in layers, different time frames. So yeah, there's a leg up, and then there's two legs down, and then there's two legs up in this second leg of this two-legged thing. So you'll see this over and over. Look for the measured moves. That really helps you. And I mean, that was real clear down that there's two legs. So after two legs down, now you'll probably get your other leg up for this one, and you might even get two legs up, which you did. So hopefully that's clear. And then look at this resistance up here. Wait on a lower high. You get a lower high here, I have no signal bar. I get another lower high here, I have no signal bar. You could say, hey, that's a failed second entry long, but look, we're just going sideways. Be real careful right there. And then it breaks out, comes back, and then gives you, it actually breaks higher and turns, comes down and engulfs it. You could go short one tick below this bar, or just wait to here, and off it goes. And now the downtrend started over again. And I would look for that to be a possible center of the pattern and look for a measured move. Let me back out. That's probably the center of a pattern of a measured move here. And this is what some of you do. You'll send me, some of y'all will send me a trade asking about a trade. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And there's no way to really give you a decent answer. I mean, I can still probably tell you half the time, but you'll send me this right here, like this right here, and you can't see any of the context of the chart, and you say this failed right here. This second entry long right here failed. Why? Because you didn't. It's a terrible read, and you didn't read it right. I mean, there's not really a easy answer. I mean, it's not really a complicated answer. It's just a horrible read because the trend is down, and you're going long in congestion at the high of resistance in a where the overall bias is down. And I tell you that, of course, not everybody's members of the membership, so you don't see my mid-morning stuff. But I tell you all this in the mid-morning chart every day. What the overall bias is, what I think is going to happen, and usually I'm pretty close. And so this is a downtrend. Don't be trying to get long up here. And if you send me just this part of your chart, sure, I could probably tell you, hey, that's congestion. Don't be trying to get long in it. And you can clearly see the resistance even right there. You don't even have to back out to see that. So the problem is some of you are just so new, you don't even have a clue what you're doing, and you think you know what you're doing. And I mean, I get emails from people saying, I'm ready to go. I'm thinking about going live. I had 14 wins in a row, and then they sent me a trade, and I know instantly on that single trade, you don't know what you're doing yet. There's no reason for you to go live. And when I tell you that, I'm not telling you that to be ugly or to hurt your feelings or anything like that. So please don't take it that way. I'm just trying to save you from being a donator. Don't be that person. Don't be the donator. Don't be that guy or gal. You don't want to be the donator. There's plenty of them out there every day thinking they're the smart one that's going to outsmart everybody else, and this is a skill. This has nothing to, trading has nothing to do. I don't care if your IQ is 250. That has nothing to do with it. The key is this is a skill. It's just like baseball. I don't care how good your IQ is. It don't make you a good baseball player. You got to work on those skills. And this is no different. So don't think because you're smart or intelligent or got really good common sense or good business decisions, it's going to help you one bit trading, because it really works against you. So it's 20 minutes here and we ain't even got going good. I just can't get off my soapbox today, but it's just so frustrating to get 50 emails with the same question, and I get frustrated, and I shouldn't, I know, but really I just want you guys to understand. I'm really just trying to help you understand. And it's not that I'm bitching and complaining at you. It's just that I'm just trying to help you understand that you can't learn this in a few weeks or a few months. So this is a skill, and you got to hone it, and you got to practice. But anyway, you get the little breakout pullback right here. You get notice you made that high, test it once, twice, you get a little double test. Look how it was an engulfing bar. Look how bearish. Go short there. And the downtrend's back again. And then you get a second entry short right here. That's not bearish enough for my chart. If you had a good bearish bar there, go short by all means. And then notice you made a new high, first entry, second entry, and it fails again. There's my chance to go short. There's another little lower high, but you can't go short right into that support. It works, but next time it won't work. Don't go short right there. And you correct, nothing here. Then first entry. The second entry actually triggered right here, but these have matching highs, so you could still go short right there. I marked it green because it's not a perfect setup, but you could still go short there. There's a lower high here. Again, that signal bar is no good. Then of course your failure again right here. Entry would be one tick below that bar right there, because that's where it turned down. That's where the failure begins. So your entry is where the failure begins. One tick below the bar it breaks below. And we're moving down, down, down. You don't want to be getting short right into that midline. But once we push on through, you might take one of these because there's still plenty of room down here to this brown. There's so many lines on here, I apologize, but we're in this brown channel now. And so just zone everything out but the brown channel. And so we're not that, and we're getting further and further away from the EMA. So these are just iffy. You know, you're probably not going to get a second entry because there's not room. So if you want, you know, you might take them if you got a good, like that. That's only like 3 or 4 ticks in there. I don't know how many it is, but there's not many. That's a very low risk entry right at a key entry point in a very bearish bar. This one's a little more risky, but it's got matching highs, so you could use either one. So this is good for a signal bar. Drops on down, and then first entry, second entry, but your signal bar is no good. But then you get a lower high right here. That's a little bit congestive. But this is a strong downtrend. Everything's still below the EMA. Just go short there. If this was not a strong downtrend, I'd say no, you can't go short right there out of that congestion. Then you're working down, and now you get another double test. You made this high, test it once, twice, again, right off the EMA. Look how bearish. And you still got plenty of room back down here. I mean, we can't even get back to the midline here. This thing is bearish. But once you start to overshoot, it's not going to go far in most cases, and then it's going to reverse. And you don't want to be trying to get long here. Yeah, there's a failed second. Actually, the failed second entry short is right here, and it's still below the EMA. And, of course, there's another one right here, and you don't want to be going long above congestion way away from the EMA. So just no entry here. You could look at this as a failed break out of that, but the trend is down and very strong, and we just came off the midline. Don't go short, just wait. Or don't go long, just wait. And notice we're still, there's a lower high here. You might have taken this lower high because we're back below the midline. That's one, but that's the first break of this channel, and we're not back to the trend line, so there's a good chance that's where we're going. And even though this worked, that is still where we went, but you might take that one. I'd be willing to give that one a green one. Again, I think you're better off to wait, but it's a possibility. And then we try to go higher again. You make that high, you test it once, you test it twice, it breaks higher and turns and goes down. It's only good for a scalp. Well, you could have got a little more out of that. There's a lot of points there. It doesn't look like it, but there's a lot of points there. You probably could have got 3 or 4 points out of a runner, and then you get another leg up. So now again, you got one leg up, a little two-legged correction in there, and another leg up. Back to that main black trend line. Let me back out and show that to you. That's this big trend line. Or actually, we're back to the midline. I take that back. That's the midline. And you got a couple of legs up, and then you get a lower high, nice bearish bar. You actually get a triple test here, and you could look at that as a failed second entry long, but with everything still above the EMA, I wouldn't risk it here because we might be going to the trend line. And of course, we drop down, and you get a first entry, and then there's a second entry. There's actually a second entry right here, but again, draw your trend lines. I mean, this thing is getting choppy here again. Notice how we're just notice how the EMA started to look like a roller coaster again. I say this to a couple of people every day. Look at your EMA. It tells you a lot. Notice how prices aren't consistently above or below. They're back and forth. We're going sideways now. So be real careful getting short anywhere but up here on these highs. And I wouldn't take any longs. But anyway, we're actually into 2 o'clock here, so it doesn't matter. But you can see it starting to do it here. But once we got outside that trend line and we're still going sideways, you can still see there's a downward bias. But don't be trying to buy here. I did mark this one, and it's after 2, but the reason being was, notice you got this trend working up. You get the close outside. You tried to go higher, and you get a lower high. And that's the first break. Is that the first break of the brown one? Yeah, we had a little break outside here. This is just a big, strong downtrend, so every chance to get short that, you know, especially after 2 legs up there and then a lower high, that far away from the EMA with plenty of room, you probably take that. But just remember to look right here. Let me show you this. Notice how prices are consistently, we've got above the EMA there, but look how most of the bars are all below the EMA and the EMA is pointing down. That's a downtrend. That's easy to see. Now look, prices are back and forth above and below. The EMA is like a roller coaster going sideways. That's just a trading range. The overall bias though is still down, but we got a range within that. So keep that in mind. You still want to mostly look for shorts. Look how we're making lower highs still, but we're still in a sideways. So you got to be careful taking second entries and entering in the middle of this. You only want to get short off these highs, and you probably don't want to do any buying, although you probably could have bought these lows. I didn't even put a line on there, but you probably could have bought them, but I wouldn't try to do it on a range day. And you can see those lows across there. Most every one of them bounced. Even if they broke lower, they still went back up. But you can tell at the highs that, notice how they just keep dropping down till maybe right in there. So that's how I would have played that if you were trading that this afternoon. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. We're almost 30 minutes today. I didn't intend for it to be that long, but there was a lot to talk about today. And yeah, I probably sounded frustrating, and it is kind of frustrating when I have to answer 100 emails a day, and 25 of them are the exact same answer for a failed second entry at the same exact spot. So it just makes me think that you guys are sitting around together in some trading room or something, taking these trades together, and then when it fails, every one of you send me an email. If that's really what's going on, please, one of you volunteer to send the email, and the rest of you, he can bring the answer back to the rest of you. If that's not what you're doing, don't worry about it. You know, I'm not a complainer really. I'm just trying to help you guys see it more than anything. And you know, it does make it harder for me when I got to go through and answer the same email 25 times a day. And I see it's just such a coincidence that every one of you get trapped at the same place thinking you're taking a trap. Unless maybe y'all are sitting around in the same room trading together. Again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but by all means, if you got something you can't figure out, send it to me. I'm never going to tell you not to, and I'm always going to want to try to help you and help you answer it. But if you every time you get a failure, you send it to me just because you don't, the idea is the way you get better is you try to figure it out on your own. Try to figure it out. And if you truly can't figure it out, know that if it failed, you got something wrong, and see if you can figure it out. Most of the time, some of you will answer me back before I even answer you, and you'll say, hey, looking at this now, and you'll give me exactly why it failed. You already see it. So you would have saved me 2 emails by waiting and trying to figure it out. And then if you couldn't, then send me an email. So again, I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to reduce my load so I really can help people that truly need help, because I can only answer so many emails a day, and I mean they're just coming in by the gazillions lately. And again, I want you to send them to me if you really need the help, but all I'm asking is that you to try to do a little thinking, try to figure it out on your own, because that's really what makes you better. Trading alone every day, just trading and closing up and going home, you're never going to get better at that. What you have to do is get on here, take all the trades you think that meet our criteria. Don't worry if you're wrong or right, and then till the end of the day. Then at the end of the day, go back and study every trade, figure out what you did wrong or try to, and correct it. And figure out what you did right. A lot of times you'll take a trade, it's still not a good trade, and you'll get lucky. So study all your trades. Make sure all of them are following the rules, all of them are right. And then if you can't figure it out, that's when you send those trades to me and say, hey, look at this trade, or maybe these 2 trades. They're 2 I took. I can't figure out what I did wrong, and I can answer it for you. And it makes my job easier and your job easier. And always send me a picture with it too. Don't say in the manual on page 98, because I don't have time to go look that up. When you're trying to answer 100 emails a day, if I had to go look up every chart and everything, I wouldn't get 5 emails answered. So you got to make it easy for me too. So, and that leads me to one other thing, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna try to get this done in 30 minutes. But Suddenly I'm having problems with Hotmail or my Outlook Live account. They're returning a lot of my emails that I'm replying to you guys, and it's just become a hassle. So I'm just going to start using only my website email, the Mac at priceactiontrading.system.com. So if you want to make sure your email gets to me and you make sure my response gets, because I've sent a bunch of replies back and they bounce back, and there's no way I can tell you because they keep bouncing them back. So I don't know what the deal is. It just started in the last week or so. But Hotmail's got a problem. I don't know what it is. Outlook or whatever's got a problem. Mine's actually live.com, but they're all the same. And they got a problem. They've tightened up something on their spam filters or something, and it's filtering, and it's not very good because it's filtering out anything I send out to. It's mostly only stuff going back to those of y'all that have Hotmail and Live.com. The rest of them, Gmail goes through, everything else goes through. It's just Hotmail. All my Hotmail emails come back. They bounce them back to me. So they're filtering out emails from one Hotmail account to another, and it just doesn't make sense. And I'm sick of it. As much as I hate to give Google the business, I moved over to Gmail, and I'm actually going to just send everything through my Mac at priceactiontrading.system.com email going forward. So, and that way I don't have to keep sending stuff back and forth and forwarding stuff, and because they just got it all screwed up, and it's just not worth it. I'm getting too many emails and losing too many, and it's not good business, and it doesn't help you guys, and it doesn't help me. So if you send anything to the my live.com account, I may not, there's a chance that may not show up. So just start sending everything to Mac at priceactiontrading.system.com. And that's going to do it. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again Monday, most likely. I'm done for today. This is Mac with priceactiontrading.system.com, and we'll see you next time.